Hey, peace. What's happening, everyone? On our deal with.
Like the rushing of a mighty wind. Like the rushing of a mighty wind.
So in a previous video, we spoke about the reasons why the American government would oppose the subdivisions that FBA and ADOS are pushing for within OMB. They're pushing for lineage-based subdivisions. And one of the reasons that ChatGPT gave that the government would oppose those subdivisions is what it called diplomatic complications. It says breaking out Black populations by national origin affects Caribbean states like Haiti and Jamaica, American states like Nigeria, Ghana, and Ethiopia, CARICOM Reparations Commission, AU 6th Region Diaspora Agenda, and U.S.-Africa Summit or trade agreements. It also went on to say the State Department hates categories that create diaspora rifts that foreign ministries can see on paper. And so today I kind of want to go into exactly why our State Department doesn't like those diaspora rifts and why it would prefer to not see those divisions in the OMB or on paper. What is it about that creates diplomatic complications? So again, that's what we want to get into, and that's what we're going to speak to ChatGPT about today. So I asked ChatGPT, why do State Department hate categories that create diaspora rifts that foreign ministries can see on paper? And it says, when I wrote that state hates diaspora rifts visible on paper, here's what I meant. Number one, foreign ministries read census categories as signals. Foreign governments care a lot about how the U.S. describes populations because it affects immigration negotiations, trade partnerships, diaspora courtship, remittance flows, development programs, security cooperation, soft power influence. If the U.S. suddenly disaggregates freedmen versus Caribbean versus African immigrants, foreign ministries read that as, quote, the U.S. is formally distinguishing diasporas. That's a signal, not a statistic. Number two, diaspora cohesion is a tool of foreign policy. Diasporas are instruments of power for many countries. Examples, India courts Indian diaspora for tech, lobbying, and capital. Israel has formal relationship with Jewish diaspora. Ireland uses diaspora for diplomatic leverage. Turkey courts Turkish diaspora in Germany politically. China uses overseas Chinese networks strategically. African and Caribbean states have recently accelerated this approach. The AU 6th Region Diaspora Concept, the Ghana's Year of Return, CARICOM Reparations Campaign, Nigeria, Ethiopia, and Ghana Dual Citizenship Outreach. If the U.S. Census divides these diasporas, it weakens those foreign leverage strategies. Foreign ministries do not like losing leverage. Rifts complicate diplomatic messaging. If the U.S. data shows freedmen outcomes not equal to Caribbean outcomes not equal to African immigrant outcomes, then diplomats face new questions in Africa or the Caribbean. Who represents Black America? Which diaspora do we align with? Do we have separate interests? Do we owe solidarity to all or some? Who speaks for reparations? Who speaks for migration? Who speaks for development cooperation? The U.S. prefers simple blocks, not fragmented constituencies. Number four, the State Department prefers coalition optics in Black foreign policy. Since the Cold War, the U.S. has portrayed Black America as a unified domestic constituency plus a global moral symbol. This was used to counter Soviet propaganda about U.S. racism, anti-colonial discourse in Africa, Third World Solidarity Movements, China's Africa strategy, currently resurging, and the Global South critiques at the UN. If the US Census shows multiple Black ethnic nations, that complicates the messaging. Number 5, CARICOM plus AU reparations plus FBA reparations equals triangle tension. Foreign ministries do not want the US disaggregating Black reparations because it makes intra-diaspora negotiations messy. Consider, CARICOM wants reparations from Europe, not the US. FBA or ADOS want reparations from the US, not Europe. AU diaspora wants investment and mobility, not reparations. If the US Census draws a lineage line, US descendants of slavery and freedmen, Caribbean nations immediately face, so what are you owed for slavery in the Caribbean? From whom? Britain, France, Spain, Netherlands? Where does diaspora solidarity begin and end? Diplomats avoid anything that creates negotiable fractures. Number 6, diplomatic rule. Never show a rift to a rival. Here's a core realist point. Rival states, China, Russia, Turkey, Iran, the EU, study US racial politics intensely. If diaspora factions are visible on census paper, rival states may court specific diaspora groups, exploit diaspora grievances, form alternative alliances, undermine U.S. coherence in Africa or Caribbean diplomacy. State likes ambiguity and broad umbrellas to minimize fragmentation. So it seems as if the main force trying to undermine reparations and make sure that reparations does not happen is the U.S. government itself. The U.S. government is the biggest tether of them all. It goes out of its way to not give those subdivisions that FBA need to have in order to have reparations. And the reason they don't give those subdivisions is exactly because they do not want to have to deal with reparations. That's the main reason why they fight against this. This other stuff about, diplomatic complications, that's all real as well. But they all are reasons why the US government is against FBA delineation, or FBA delineation the way they want it. So FBA have a bigger fight against their own government, the same government that they claim to have built. That is the main obstacle that they have when it comes to their reparations. But they don't call their government a tether. I guess that's why they call it white supremacist. But they still refer to themselves as American, and they're trying to uphold their Americanness. But again, their biggest obstacle is getting past the American government and the American government's resistance to any type of movement in the direction of reparations to open up legal pathways for them to have their reparations. And outside of reparations, they also have issues they deal with how their own foreign ministers are dealt with in these other countries when they start dividing up the people, the immigrants in America that are from those countries, how they're dealing with those people. That has a ripple effect on how American ministries, foreign ministries, the relationships that they have with those countries. And those reasons are important enough, are more important to the American government than reparations payments. Maintaining positive relations with African nations and Caribbean nations is more in the government's interest than reparations, as you can imagine. And so those are the things they fight for. So the American government has a vested interest to not have FBA delineate. Absolutely not in the way they want to, because FBA wants to delineate in a way that opens up their legal pathway to reparations payment. And the American government does everything it can to prevent that. The OMB not being willing to create those subdivisions the way FBA wanted is in fact a fight against FBA's push for reparations. The OMB is going to stand strong against any of these types of subdivisions that FBA is going to promote. You know, the OMB even put Black and African American as one category. They put it together. It's Black or African American. And the reason they put them together is specifically to not make that delineation, is to not create those subdivisions. They want to have that umbrella term for all Black people. They only want to do racial categories because racial categories absolve them of any types of remedies that they have to pay out to these lineage-based groups. So again, FBA's greatest obstacle is not immigrants and tethers. Their biggest obstacle is their very own government. And that's where their major fight is going to be, is trying to convince their government to do things the way they need it to be done to get reparations. And again, that's going to be an uphill battle. Number 7, African plus Caribbean states also don't want it. Because if the U.S. disaggregates, then they have to acknowledge internal ethnic hierarchies, acknowledge internal slavery or descent systems, acknowledge lineage differences they currently suppress. For example, Nigeria would confront Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo, Edo, etc. Ghana confronts Akan, Iwe or Iwe, Dagbani, etc. Diaspora disaggregation invites reciprocal disaggregation. States hate that. So number 8, the real reason in one sentence. Diaspora rifts weaken collective bargaining power in diplomacy. That's why foreign ministries hate seeing them written onto official U.S. documents. So the short final answer. State Department hates diaspora rifts on paper because it signals fractionalization to foreign rivals. It breaks coalition optics. It complicates reparations diplomacy. It weakens diaspora soft power. It forces lineage and entitlement questions. It invites reciprocal ethnic disaggregation abroad. It destabilizes simple foreign policy messaging. It undermines U.S. Africa and the Caribbean diplomatic strategy. So it has a broad effect internationally. Just that simple idea of changing African American on the census and creating new divisions just has domino effects that the American state, and really any state, no state wants to deal with those issues because it's just not a good look, and it affects other parts of your relationship with your international allies. So it's just a problem that they would rather not be faced with. And it's a problem that no nation wants to be faced with. It's just not a good look, and it doesn't bear good fruit. But FBA and ADOS don't care about that. They don't care about the effects that their reparations claim is going to have internationally, how it's going to affect those other countries. They really don't care. They don't care how these reparation payments is going to affect the country internally. They don't care about any of that. They only care about getting their reparations. And the main reason they don't really care about that stuff is because they don't love their country. They really don't. So any type of negative effect that the government speaks about this is going to have on the country, FBA ain't really trying to hear that. They only concern themselves with getting their bag and with their tangibles. That's all they're concerned with. If reparations breaks the nation, that they couldn't care any less. Because again, they do not love their country. they're not patriotic. As much as they attach the word American to their title, the only reason they attach American to their title is because it has to be there for their reparations claim, for their legal claim. They have to be American. They have to have that American lineage. But outside of that, they don't care about their country. And that's why none of the reasons that the government has for not wanting to create any type of pathway, regardless of what the reasons are, how valid they are for the stability of the country, they are not concerned. FBA is only concerned with reparations. And that's it. Reparations and their other tangibles and benefits. That's all that they're concerned with. Everything else can go by the wayside. And that's pretty much the only thing that I wanted to address today. That's pretty much the idea that I wanted to address. Just how the subdivisions that FBA need, how the effects of it would not be a good look for their own government or for other governments around the world. It's just not a good thing, and none of them really want it. But it's what FBA wants, and it's what FBA needs, and it's what FBA is going to pursue. So that's all I have for this video, man. That's really where I want to end this. You know the routine. If you like the video, like the video. If you didn't like the video, like the video. You watched it, so like it. All of that helps. Hit the subscribe button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and you're done know. We're going to catch you on the next one. Peace.
I want you to listen very, very carefully.
It's all about life in the street. People are suffer, try survive in the heat. Bad mind them up to one, hygiene a do it. That's why enough of them, rifle a beat. Everybody want big ups and want to drive in a Jeep. Every day I'm at the ball when she bike in a read. Not even 5 bills, we can't find for the week. Me no see no changes, the same cycle repeat. Give thanks cause life it's a sweet. But keep an eye open every time you go sleep. Cause mankind jealous and them idle go late. Them never yet plant and not try figure it. Bigger heads where you fight for the seat. Now care about the future nor the child where you creep. Them a pray the fat Kyle we submit. The system will slide where you fit.
In the streets where we born and grow, only Jah know and nobody know.
When we talk about ghetto life, talk about ghetto life.
Everybody a priest say them want it though. That's why them a speed and they pan the go.
Cause this a real ghetto life. This a real ghetto life. Yeah. Everybody just a pre-success. When me looking at the street, you me see enough stress. Them all a fight for who reach up next. Everybody want floss and a beat up chest. Juvenile in a them teen love sex. Them a pre the fast money, them no need subjects. And if you're unfortunate, please don't vex. Also the thing said cause the streets don't rest.
In the streets where we born and grow, only Jah know and nobody know.
When we talk about ghetto life, talk about ghetto life.
Everybody a priest say them want it though. That's why them a speed and they pan the go.
Cause this a real ghetto life. This a real ghetto life. Yeah. It's all about life in the street. People are suffer, try survive in the heat. Bad mind them up to one, hygiene a do it. That's why enough of them, rifle a beat. Everybody want big ups and want to drive in a Jeep. Every day I'm at the ball when she bike in a read. Not even 5 bills, we can't find for the week. Me no see no changes, the same cycle repeat. Give thanks cause life it's a sweet. But keep an eye open every time you go sleep. Cause mankind jealous and them idle go late. Them never yet plant and not try figure it. Bigger heads where you fight for the seat. Now care about the future nor the child where you creep. Them a pray the fat Kyle we submit. The system will slide where you fit.
In the streets where we born and grow, only Jah know and nobody know.
When we talk about ghetto life, talk about ghetto life.
Everybody a priest say them want it though. That's why them a speed and they pan the go.
Cause this a real ghetto life. This a real ghetto life. yeah, yeah, yeah.